3, 2, 1, 0.
Uno, dos, tres, cuatro.
What's up, Big 12 Nation? It is Tuesday night in America. That can mean only one thing. It is time once again for your favorite YouTube-based Big 12-centric show on the Voice of College Football Network. That's right. It's time for another edition of The Biggest 12 with me, your host, Clint Foster. And thank you so much for being with me tonight on this Tuesday, making me a part of your Tuesday. Are we having fun yet? Talk to your kids about conference leading BYU because nobody else in the Big 12 is having a whole lot of fun right now besides maybe Utah. Things are not going great. And we've got a reunion of anybody who's followed me for a significant period of time. You may remember the Toad Talk days. We've got a reunion of the Toad Talk crew here tonight. We are going to commiserate about some TCU, misery, right? We are skilletless and do not appear to be headed in a positive direction. We're going to break that down as well as every other game on the Big 12 slate this week. But first, I need something from you, right? I need you to like and subscribe. I need to share this show with everyone you know. Don't be a hoe, okay? We're trying to grow the show. All right, and like and subscribe at Big 12 Voice of College Football. There it is right there. We're trying to turn this into an international movement, okay? I'm really wanting to expand into the Irish market, okay? We're going to play Farmageddon there this year. Let's do that. Let's make it happen. Let's tell everybody you know about this show. We've got one person watching right now, right? Show this thing to everybody. Make it a part of your Tuesday night routine, okay? Also, follow me on Twitter or X, whatever, suits your fancy, at Clint_Foster55. A lot of negativity and jokes coming from me right now, in the doldrums of my TCU misery. And also subscribe to my YouTube channel, a lot of the same, at Clint Foster Comedy. I'm also working on a very exciting project right now. I'm laying the groundwork for a project that I want to have done at the end of next summer. It is like a feature-length project that I plan to put on my YouTube channel. Get subscribed now so you can be a part of that whenever it is released to the masses. So do that. And of course, subscribe to the Voice of College Football's Twitter account at VOCFB. Join into the conversation. So, speaking of conversations and generally being miserable about everything having to do with the TCU Horned Frogs, I got to welcome in my old buddy, my old co-host on Toad Talk. Ladies and gentlemen, here he is, Billy Wessel.
Hi, Clint. Hi, everybody.
How you doing, man?
Man, I mean, overall I'm good, but we've all been better, right?
Yes. I'm glad to know that you personally are doing well, although our sports lives are collectively in a flaming dumpster fire right now.
It is what it is. But you take the good, you take the bad, and here you have.
There you go. Pretty accurate. I would say that is pretty accurate. Everything but Hoover is terrible. That does seem to be.
Beck would like a word.
Yes.
Would like a word.
Yes.
That's about it. Would like a word. Those are the only words we have.
Yeah, we've got no rushing offense. We've got an even worse rushing defense, and then occasional coaching breakdowns here, there, and everywhere.
But we have Tuesday practices. We have great Tuesday practices.
Great practices. You better believe that. That is why we're sitting at 2-2 right now, baby.
Tuesday. Tuesday. That's what it is.
Yes, absolutely. Well, before we get into our full-on commiseration about the state of the Frogs, and we'll see if Chris can join us here pretty soon, get the full Toad Talk reunion going. Billy, if you have a big takeaway from the Big 12 generally this year, from the last 4 weeks of games, what has been the biggest thing you feel like you have learned about this league?
Anyone can win except Tech, Cincinnati, Houston, and TCU, I think. I think it's where I'm at. It started with just Tech after they took, was it SFA to overtime? And then
Abilene Christian,
yeah. And then Houston, I thought had a chance. And then they played well with Oklahoma, and they get shut out against Cincinnati. I don't think Cincinnati's any good. UCF is good. We knew UCF would be good, right? We knew Iowa State would be good. We knew Kansas State was probably the favorite. I felt like coming in. Utah, it depends on how long Cam Rising is going to play till his hip needs to be replaced or something, right? It's just you knew the teams would be good, right? And any 7 or 8 teams could win this thing. It's as wide open as people said it would be.
Yeah, and I really thought and hoped before the fourth quarter of that UCF game that we were going to be in the thick of that, and things have turned dramatically. So everybody saw this happen. SMU hung 66 on the Horned Frogs, folks. That is one more point than Georgia in the national title game.
Hang the banner, SMU. Hang the banner.
Oh my God! I listen. I've been watching TCU football for a very long time.
Yeah.
I was born into a TCU family. I started caring about football in 1998. I've watched every single TCU football game since the Sun Bowl. That is by far the most embarrassing game I have ever been a part of. Nothing even comes close. And, you old heads are going to come in. Oh, you weren't around for the 70s. Oh, you weren't around for this and that. Yes, I wasn't. It has never been worse than that. And also, we should have higher expectations than the 70s these days. Literally nothing went right. We gifted them 21 points, and they ran it down our freaking throats. We couldn't establish anything. Our rushing defense, I was very pleased. We need to break this down, okay? Because there's a lot to talk about. I was very pleased with Andy Avalos' defense through 2 weeks. I thought the defense was flying around, being physical. I liked that we were blitzing. Since then, the rush defense has proven completely inept. Your thoughts on the defense, Billy, first of all?
You nailed it. They can't stop a cold or can't stop a dam. They can't put their little thumb in the dam like the little Dutch kid, right? It's terrible. And good thing, let me check the schedule. Oh, yeah, Jalen Daniels is playing this week, right? So I don't have a lot of hope for this week either as far as stopping the run. You play against UCF, which is – it felt like getting ready for Army, except with a literal tank in the backfield with KJ Jefferson, it felt like. And they run the same 4 or 5 plays. It's an option offense. Yes, hold to stop the run. And I guess Sonny Dykes wasn't ready for that, or Avalos wasn't ready for that, whoever. And I had a great tweet ready to go out after the UCF game. I want to play this out for you. You've seen The Dark Knight Rises, right?
Of course, yes.
With Batman, it's where the last of the Batman movies of Christian Bale. So in the process of it, Bane breaks Batman's back, right? I was ready to go with, all right, Bane is Georgia. We're Batman. We spent the last year and a half getting out of the thing, right? And then winning, climbing up the little ladder and getting out of the ditch. And I thought, oh my gosh, we're finally out of the ditch. And then Two-Face Kendall Briles kicks us right back down there, right? That's what it felt like. That's what the whole end of that game felt like. 3 and out, game over. You can't score inside the red zone. That's what that felt like. But yeah, the defense not good, running game not good. When I started to have kind of a bad feeling was when I started driving around town, and then you look at the banners and it just says the Carter awaits. It doesn't have any of the players' names on there. Doesn't have Sonny, I think Sonny Dykes may have on some of them, but there's not the brand is the Carter now, right?
Yeah.
It didn't feel real or right. Not seeing Bud Clark on there, even there. Obviously not Duggan, but Hoover should have been up there. Savion should have been up there. It was just the Carter base. Have you noticed that too, or is it just me?
Yeah, I mean the Carter branding is a little strange to me. I mean, I think it's weird, like the Carter boys on the jerseys and everything's Carter this, Carter that. I don't know. I think there's a lot cooler things. I've always thought, even back in the GP days, there's a lot cooler things you can call the stadium than the Carter. I mean, Hell's Half Acre for starters, right? That's literally what it was called for a while. But yeah, it is a little weird. And I don't know. I mean, I was really confident going into the season. And I was really confident after Long Island, and after Stanford, it's like, hey, we played really well despite a lot of mistakes and everything's in front of us. And I felt really, really great at halftime of the UCF game. I mean, I ran into so many friends, so many former players, and we were all like, we're back. It's, this is amazing. We're going, this is going to be such a great season. And then just the wheels came off. You mentioned the red zone play calling, failing to score from the 1-yard line. That tells you everything you need to know about this offensive line. It's just not coming together.
I don't want to blame the false start for costing us the game, right? It's hard not to do that, but you did have another play or two to punch it in after the fact. So I'm still weird about blaming players for stuff. I know players get paid now, so you can kind of take a little more shots on a Dion just kind of went off on this the other day. But I still don't like blaming the players for something as minuscule as that when there's so many more opportunities. And you can blame the coaches making millions of dollars or dozens of hundreds of thousands of dollars to make mistakes like that. So
Yeah.
it feels weird to call out
Speaking,
alignment. Yeah, go ahead.
yeah. Speaking of the coaches making millions of dollars, where do you think? Because I feel like there's a lot of problems, right now. Where do you feel like the bulk of the blame lies for TCU's situation? Because ever since the Fiesta Bowl, it's been disappointment after disappointment after missed opportunity after what the hell is going on. I mean, Colorado, Kansas State, UCF, SMU, so many just your mouth is wide open, head scratching, what is happening here games. Where does the blame lie?
You got to start with Sonny, but I don't think you're firing Sonny now, right? I kind of joke on Twitter, fire everybody. I say that a lot, but you're not firing Sonny. It felt like we've got the Bryles karma. It feels like until that goes away, nothing's going to change. You can't blame the offense for scoring 40 points a game. I get it. Like they're putting up numbers, but they're mostly shallow, empty numbers, right?
Yeah.
Matt Jennings does a great job breaking all this down on Twitter, better than I could, very intelligently. But like, this is still Dykes' staff, right? And I don't like it's got to be up to him to make the final decision of who's leading the team as far as coaching staff. Is it too early to say Avalos isn't it? Probably. He's had 4 games, first time coaching in a real conference. Now, did he get fired from Boise State? Then they go on to win the conference, win like 4 straight games after he left? Yeah, that happened, right? So maybe that's not the best hire. And obviously, I'm not even going to open the Bryles can of worms anymore. It just feels like they need something else, which would come from starting in the new head coach. A new head coach would be the one that breathed life into the whole thing. But again, I don't think you're firing Dykes. I don't know the buyout situation. I don't know the whole just donating $1 million.
My understanding is it's pretty big.
Probably, right? And it's because it's only his 3rd year, and I bet he got a fat extension after making the Natty. Just putting a little Tony Shastries on GP's players is what he did and took him to the Natty. Yeah. It just feels like I don't know, and that's what sucks, right? You don't know what to do because you're not going to get rid of Dykes. It's not going to happen, and I feel bad saying that because I want to see him succeed. I was wrong about him the first year. If you show it to me once, theoretically it's still in there. But at the same time, this has been a year and a half of just mistake after mistake and it's not just the players, it's the coaches, it's everything. And so it starts with him. It starts with them up top. People calling for Donati are crazy. That seems way too aggressive, right? You agree with me. Donati, he's made of gold here. What he's done with every other program needs to be studied. You see all the hype around women's basketball nowadays. Women's volleyball is ranked for the first time ever. Baseball, we've been hyped about that for last year. Last year was a bummer, but I think people still believe in Sarloos. It's kind of a similar situation, right? Sarloos took TCU to the Final Four his first year, and then last year was a floundering. I can't imagine after mid-March we're gonna fire Sarloos next year. It's not gonna happen. Give Dykes a little more time. You got probably another 2 years of this, and just hope things turn around. You have the talent on offense. Develop a line, please. Offensive and defensive line. Develop some big bodies. Get some little more toughness in there. Get Kazidi doing this thing as the strength coach. It's hard. It's easy that Dykes is the answer, right? But you're not going to do anything about Dykes. So what do you do? I don't know.
Yeah, and the offensive line to me has been the most disappointing aspect last year and this year, as well as the defense. But yeah, it's crazy, and I'm really trying to make heads or tails of it because on one hand, there's a lot I like about Dykes' culture in the program. You mentioned that 2022 season; it was the perfect change of pace.
Hypno-toad, right? Embrace the weird, the weird hoodies every week. Carter Boyd's TV show was appointment watching, right? There's been a lot of good with the program that he's in a way directly responsible for. Again, I make fun of just putting some spice on GP's players, but he had a lot to do with that. And just and it's hard to point to any other moment than hiring Bryles and everything went to hell, right? It just feels how it went. But
yeah, and it's interesting because last year I think leadership was a big issue, right? They took for granted all of those GP built leaders, the Max Duggins, the Quentin Johnston's, the D Winterses,
and they're
right?
all the Chargers now, right? The whole national title team is playing for the Chargers. So you can't just replace all that and expect to be good again. It's not how that works. You expected a step back, but then if we beat UCF and then if we beat them by 2 touchdowns and then say the same thing happened with SMU, would we be this upset right now? I don't know. Like,
I would definitely be upset, but I don't think it'd be as upset because it is now. I mean, we're always SMU Super Bowl. We are.
Yeah.
They always are going to ball out against us, point blank, period. And there's been years, 2011 comes to mind, where we lose a stupid game to SMU, and then we go on to have a really, really great year. I mean, we won the West that year.
05, right? One at
Yeah,
Oklahoma and lost at SMU
exactly.
next week. Yeah.
Exactly. But it's the way we've lost those two games. And also when you hear things like, and I really want to get Chris's take on this, like we had, I think it was Caleb Fox mentioned, oh my gosh, like practice was so great. We were actually running around. Nobody was just walking. And you hear that and you're like, what? Like, where's everyone's head at? What is,
Yeah.
and I've visited a practice before, and it was on some level very refreshing because everybody was having fun. It was loose, night and day different than when GP was there.
Yeah.
But also, like, you need to have a sense of urgency. You need to be getting work in and making the most of your opportunities. And it's like, is this culture not allowing for that? I'm just trying to make heads or tails of the situation. I want to know your take too about the whole ejection during the SMU game. Is that something you take issue with, Dykes getting thrown out of the game, or you liked that he was yelling at the officials? What do you think?
As someone who likes to blame the officials on Twitter more than I should, I get it. I get someone who yells at officials. I like a little bit of spunk and fire, and maybe you see this sometimes in baseball, right? Bobby Cox all the time would go and get ejected from a game to fire up the team. Maybe he was trying to do something like that. I don't know. You just don't see it all the time in football, right? Which makes it feel
literally never happened.
Yeah. So I get, like, if it was baseball, I'd get it. Like, Sarloos gets run. Oh yeah, the team's fired up, now ready to win a game. Why wouldn't that be the same aspect for Sonny Dykes? It didn't work, but at the same time, I like showing a little fight, a little spunk. You know what? I'm for it. I'm okay with the ejection. I'm gonna decide now. I'm fine with it. It shows a little immaturity. But at the same time, we just talk about walking around in practice as an improvement versus running around as an improvement versus walking around. It's a different personality type. I'm going to say that shows a little fire. I'm okay with it. Even though as embarrassing as it is, it's not as embarrassing as letting up 66 points. So
yeah. If we win the game,
if they come back
less
and they pitch a shutout in the second half and you end up winning, that's the moment to turn the season around, right?
Yeah,
it's one of those things where if one little thing happens, and boom, what happens after that? But
dark days right now.
I mean, we say they're dark days, but again, we've had darker, and the season's just begun. It's been two terrible. It's been 5 terrible bad quarters in a row, right?
Yeah. I mean, the wild thing is, I agree with you. I don't think we'll talk about the game. I don't think we're going to win this game because I think we match up horribly against Kansas. But I mean, if we beat Kansas,
we're
still competing for the Big 12, right?
We're back in.
I really think that the team that wins the Big 12 may have 3 losses. Truly.
Yeah.
I would not be surprised.
It's very possible. Like, because I mean, Kansas State's 0-1 in conference. We think they would be a favorite. Of course, they went to BYU, and BYU lived mossed all over them, right? So they're a lot better than everyone thought. At least me. Like, I thought BYU was going to be terrible this year. I thought SMU was going to blow them out. I thought they were going to do to them what they did to us, and they go to SMU and stomp them, right? So it's just still wide open. It's totally wide open. There's no telling what's going to happen. You could easily lose 2 games and make the Big 12 title game. I think very easily this year.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's get into this TCU Kansas game, and we'll circle back around to it when we do have KG. So the Frogs going to Kansas City. Kansas is a 2-point favorite in this game. I am shocked by that line. I mean, I've been wrong.
I think it's down to 1.5.
Is it down to 1.5 now?
I'm looking at it right now. It says 1.5. So basically, take your money and put it on Kansas, in my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, I hope I'm wrong. But there is one thing that Kansas does competently, and it is run the ball. With Devin Neal and with Jalen Daniels, there is one thing we cannot do literally to save our lives, and it is stop the run. Unless Kansas tries to get cute and stupid, I do not see any way we win this game. I really want to say that I believe it. And, on game day, I'm going to figure out where the hell to watch this thing on ESPN Plus. I'm going to have my bells on.
It's harder to find than the CW. This is going to be.
Yeah, I mean, God, at least I could watch that, right? Give me your take, Billy.
You pretty much nailed it. It's going to be who can run the ball, who can stop the run. Like, can we stop the run? And then can Josh Hoover put the team on his back again and stay ahead of the chains, right? Because to be honest, the UCF game, we really didn't deserve to win. Hoover was making magic on 3rd and 8 the whole first half, every time. He was just playing out of his mind. And it's sad when you got to do that every time down the field. So they get to come and throw it by the game. Did you play this game? Is this a remake of? Are you playing this live right now?
No. So this is a computer simulation. I've started doing this for my game of the week. We simulate the game and see how it goes.
I get it. We've already run the ball too much.
Yeah,
back-to-back running plays. That's way too much of that. Who they
and a first down on 2 running plays.
Yeah, right. I don't know. I don't think we can stop. I don't think we can stop Kansas running. I don't think it's going to happen. How many stops did we have in the SMU game? Was it 0? Did they punt? I don't think they punted. So
I honestly don't think they did. I'd have to look back at the stats. I really, I was trying not. It got to a point in that game where I was like, I don't want to be lucid anymore. But I don't remember any.
Yeah,
punts.
I don't. I want to say they didn't punt. I'm pulling up the box score now, but I think it's one of those things where they also had a short field all the time. We were fumbling. They had a punt return touchdown, a fumble touchdown. We had 0 punt return yards for the game as a team. So that's not good. So we didn't force it. We didn't get a stop. Except for the fumble, didn't get a stop, right? So
they didn't have to try very hard.
No.
I mean, just literally, if I'm an offensive coordinator, TCU week, I cannot wait for TCU week because I'm going to run zone and I'm going to run inside, outside zone, and I might run a little bit of power. And I'm just going to have
always the wheel.
I'm going to have myself a day. Right?
The wheel route's always open.
Yes.
So,
that's all.
That's a given, right? So but again, Jalen Daniels, he'll roll his ankle walking onto the field, and then he'll be hurt. And Bean's not there anymore to back him up. Like, he was almost a more intimidating player than Jalen Daniels is because he's more lethal with his arm and had a little wiggle to him too, as GP would always say, had some wiggle. So and Daniels is just all wiggle, and I don't think he's as good as people thought he was going to be. But I don't like our chances to get a whole bunch of stops in this game. Hoover's going to have to be perfect again. Try and run some clock. I know, as crazy as that sounds, keep Daniels on the sideline as much as possible. Let your defense get some rest because they're going to be chasing them down the whole game. So again, not feeling confident in the game at all. But it's going to come down to can you contain Jalen Daniels?
Yeah, and you're right. Like, if TCU's going to win this game, it's going to be because we're playing keep away and we're hitting short passes to supplement the run game. I mean, I was as furious as anyone in the moment that last drive against UCF before they scored to go up.
Yeah,
we had the 3 and out, and there was 3 short passes behind the sticks. I was furious. But then I sat on it for a second, and I was like, I don't blame Kendall Briles one bit. We could not run the ball. And although you do want to run clock, it's like, if you're in that situation, you're like, well, we can't run the ball. Like, hopefully we can complete some passes.
Could they not run the ball, or did they not want to try? There's a thing. They ran the ball 14 times, and I want to say and like, that's not counting a scramble by Hoover, a kneel by Hoover, and I want to say there was like a 1 yard, like a play at the 1 yard line, right? So really, you had like 13 or 14 designed runs during the game that were not 1 yard situations, basically. So it's kind of like you would have ran a little bit. Even then, just don't snap the ball with 25 seconds left on the play clock. And people are like, that's on Hoover. That's on Hoover. No, it's on Hoover's coach. Who's the quarterback coach? Oh yeah, Kendall Briles, right?
Yep.
So that's what you got to do. I like how they're running literally down the field on us right now. They're about. This is how the game's gonna go. Everybody, like, we have a quick little gentleman's 4 and out, and then they're gonna drive down and get a touchdown.
Interception though. What's up, Travis?
There you go. Was that Bud?
That's just Travis Broughton.
Oh, there you go.
Which, hey, until this last week, I mean, he had a rough game against SMU, but I was in love with this dude after the Stanford game. I think he could have himself a really good year.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so neither of us are confident. We'll get Chris's.
What a wild world where we're just all in on picking Kansas to win a football game. I get, like, they're different now than they were 5 years ago, but it's still hard to believe.
Yeah, we'll come back and check in on this a little bit later in the show. See where it's at. In the meantime, let's look ahead to another big game this weekend between two teams that dropped games they really wish they didn't last week. Oklahoma State at Kansas State. The Wildcats are a 6-point favorite for the 11 a.m. game. I am leaning Kansas State in this one, but this is a get-right game, a must-win for both of these teams, I would say.
Yeah, it feels, as we were just saying, the loser and the winner of the Big 12 could lose 3 games. I don't know if must win is ready for that, but
Yeah.
it does feel like in a very important game. I think Kansas State does pull it. I think it's gonna be so hard to win on the road in the Big
Mhm.
12. Like
Yeah.
you have to win your home games. Oklahoma State dropped a home game to Utah. Kansas State lost on the road to BYU in a night game. Crazy milk-filled atmosphere up there, but I think I still like Kansas State. I think Avery Johnson's getting a little bit. I think he's not been as impressive as he kind of led on to last year. But I think they still got enough horses to win this one handily. And I'd say they cover, in my opinion. But
Yeah, that BYU they're the story of the Big 12 right now to me. It's
yeah,
shocking how well they have played through these last 2 weeks, especially in the context of how well SMU looked against us. But yeah, I agree with you. I think Kansas State, they play disciplined football at home, in front of the home fans. I like Oklahoma State generally a lot better at home than on the road.
yeah,
Yes, I do think that Oklahoma State still could have themselves a good season. I was personally shocked that I am still shocked that Oklahoma State's rushing effect has not been their rushing attack has not been more effective so
hmm
far this year. That's been a shocker to me.
yeah. Did they lose a lot on the line? I really don't know, but like maybe.
No, they have an extremely experienced line.
Oh,
That's the
cool.
crazy thing.
Cool. Yeah, so I don't know what it is. Like, there's no telling. Maybe it's just people aren't afraid of Alan Bowman. They've got 9 years of tape on him, so they're
Yeah,
not worried about that as much. They're worried solely on Ollie Gordon.
yeah, yeah. It's going to be interesting if how much Avery Johnson gets used as a rusher for Kansas State going forward because he's so dangerous with his legs.
Yeah.
Turn that kid loose. Let him do what he's good at. That's what if I'm a Wildcat fan, that's what I'd like to see.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. So the other 11 a.m. game, we mentioned BYU. This is another line that's kind of shocking to me. I don't know if it's moved again. Baylor's favored by 3.5 at home against the Fighting Mormons of BYU. This little quasi rivalry game is kind of fun. That's kind of started between BYU and Baylor. I think the Cougs can win this on the road. Baylor should have beaten Colorado. It is stunning that they did not. But I like BYU on the road here.
Yeah, but that was the funniest loss of the weekend. Like, our loss was definitely worse than theirs.
Yeah.
But that was a lot funnier to watch. It made me feel a little better as the nightcap game on Saturday. Watching Colorado, they essentially hit 2 Hail Marys in a row because the guy just dropped the first one, and then they hit the second one, and then Travis Hunter forces the fumble to win the game. Wild that they blew that one. But yeah, this is 100% feels like BYU is going to go in and kind of dominate Baylor because I don't think Baylor is very good, right? I mean. But it's so hard to tell this early in the year. They blew out Tarleton, whatever that's worth. They lost close against Utah, but that was 23-0 early, and then Cam Rising got hurt, and then they blew out Air Force, and then should have beat Colorado. So that's a bunch of middling teams that they handled. So again, I think I would take BYU in the points here for sure. I think BYU wins this just because they're so tough and interesting, and that Retzlaff kid is fun to watch too. And it seems like he's not as much of a dual threat guy, but he's got a little wiggle to him. I keep saying that, and I keep thinking GP every time. Which, by the way, going back to coaches, does he do a Bill Snyder in like 3 years when Sonny Dykes is over? I saw that.
Hey,
out there.
People on Twitter, and I've been looking at the message boards. People are calling for it. I don't know. I mean, I love GP. I don't know that would be the right call. I think he's kind of enjoying retirement, to be honest. He's earned himself a retirement.
I still don't think he's done.
Yeah.
I don't think the time is right yet.
It's like Vince Carter. I got one more in me.
Yeah, 100%. I feels like, and I don't know if he's ready for I think he's waiting for other people to like leave first that maybe kind of nudged him out or something. Mm-hmm. But he was on campus for the UCF game, right? Like I think Yellum K, good pal Yellum K, mentioned that he was like saw him at the game and said hey to him. So so I think he's still around. He's hanging out. So he's always there. He's always watching. Be
interesting. Always watching.
I think he's got at least 2 years for that happens. So
yeah, what a wild deal that would be. I don't know. I mean,
Snyder took 4 years off. So Snyder took 4 years off. This is now year 3 post GP. I think this might be a 2027 situation.
Yeah. But I don't know, man. And it worked out for Snyder. But I don't know if Coach P.
He's his idol. Like he's his guy, right? So
my trepidation would be that Coach P has been so resistant to change in the past. I mean, if he's going to come in and coach the same way he used to, there's not a lot of kids that respond to that anymore. That's the problem. I mean, you need discipline in a program, and I think that's one thing that our program is very clearly lacking.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's hard. It's hard to know if he'd be successful because those last 4 years were just rough. I mean, they were rough. I don't know. That's an interesting thought exercise.
It felt like the game had passed him by, right? It sure felt like it. And I go back to the Texas game his last year where you have 10 guys on punt return, so you take a timeout, and then during the timeout that you called, they review for targeting, and Texas is getting a first down out of it, right? Just fair catch it. Just call a fair catch, right? And that's fine, and you get the ball at the 50. But it's just one of those things where I don't know. He'll be 65 in February.
Mm-hmm.
I think Snyder's like what, in his 80s now, so probably that, but you never know.
Yeah, right. Isn't Bill Snyder super old? Yes.
Snyder's 84, so but that means he came back. If he came back, I'm pulling his Wikipedia page now. So if he came back to coach K-State in 2009, that was 15 years ago. Do the math on this. So he was 70 when he came back. Is that how that works? So I'm just saying, there's still time.
Of course, Bill Snyder has a significantly different coaching style than the stroke-inducing coaching style of Gary Patterson.
Could you imagine? I just want to see GP write a handwritten note on a napkin and give it to Avery Johnson. Give it to Shadur Sanders.
Scrawled out like a ransom note.
I want to see GP write a note to Shadur Sanders. That's what I want to see.
You're a fine young man. I think you'll go far.
I love the rap music. That's what he said.
Yes. It's adding it to the practice mix.
Yeah.
Guy says the Baylor freshmen think they're the bleacher creatures. Yeah, a nice bleacher creatures.
100%.
Yes, 100%. Okay, so we're in agreement. BYU taking this one against Baylor. You love to see it. Baylor suffering. I'm all for it. Let's check in on how the Frogs are doing here. Okay, got a 3-point lead. It looks like we just forced a turnover, probably. Okay, we got surrender cobras going on.
Man, how long did it take you to go through the Big 12 previews now? Because now there's like 9 games a weekend.
Well, I mean, not terribly long. We've only got
I'm a chatty boy. I'm just saying. I just know it. Like you can with 9 games or 8 games of preview every weekend. I'm like, man, you could be here 2 hours and you're talking to nobody.
You certainly could. Yeah, usually we go about an hour on the show. Usually. So moving on. Colorado, we were talking about Shadur Sanders. We're just doing great with the segues here. Yeah, Colorado goes to Orlando. This is a pointy spread, but I like it, actually. UCF 14.5 over Colorado. I think the Knights absolutely smash these guys.
Yeah. I think they're coming off a bye, right? They didn't play this week. Emotional win against us this week. They got big noon kickoff. Mm-hmm. I don't know if they've had a game I don't know if they've had game day before. I imagine not. This might be the first time they've had a pregame show at their stadium at the Bounce House before. I think they're going to be hyped all in for this. I think they blow the doors off of them.
Yeah. All right. Clem Moses we have a lot of Colorado haters on the show. UCF. There we go. Yeah. The UCF's a very good team. They've got a really great rushing offense, scrappy, and Colorado we think we have culture problems. My Lord, that locker room is a mess. I don't think Colorado wins probably many more than 4 games again this year, and they definitely ain't going to win this one. I would be shocked and a half. UCF is so dangerous at home. RJ Harvey, 1,000-yard rushing day. Yeah, you just might be right.
Yeah, I did. I looked at his prop. It's like 114 on a prop bet for that. I'm like, that seems awfully low. That feels juicy.
Yeah. I don't know what else there is to say about this game.
I mean,
I'm very confident.
UCF coming off a bye at home. Their biggest home game, unless they've got I know Florida I think comes to town every once in a while, but having one of the pregame shows always gives a little extra something to the game. So I think they'll come out fired up. I think they're going to just run all over Colorado all day, probably run for 400 yards as a team and just not look back.
Yeah. Another one that should not be close, another team on the rise, Iowa State at Houston. Iowa State, Billy, this team may just win. So they got 2 really hard games close to these. I'm pulling up their schedule right now. They may go on a serious winning streak right here.
Yeah.
Let me double check on it.
Yeah, they might just run around and win the whole Big 12. They get UCF at home. They go to Kansas, but they finish at Utah and then home against Kansas State, right? So that's very much a schedule that gives you 10-2 easily.
Mhm. Yeah.
That's very much a 10-2 schedule. I mean, they beat Iowa at Iowa, salty Iowa team, and they're just solid, right? I don't think they do anything particularly well. Like, they have always had a great defense. They've got a really solid defense, giving up less than 10 points a game. But like, they're just solid. They just don't mess up. They just don't make mistakes.
They're solid despite being young. I mean, the next couple years for Iowa State are looking very positive. But here's the thing: this schedule just lines up so perfectly, like you're saying. Until Utah, Kansas State. Now, that's a really tough 2 games to close out the season. But I mean, look at this. If I'm Iowa State, the only game I'm even concerned about is at West Virginia for the next 2 months. I mean, yeah, this lines up very nicely for them. We could be talking about top 10 Iowa State in November.
Yeah. Man, can we talk about West Virginia? West Virginia is so weird. Like, they're just a weird team. I'm sure we'll get to them in a minute, but they don't make any sense.
Yes. So Iowa State, the fighting Matt Campbell.
Yeah,
doing really great things.
I'm going to go and pencil them in for the Big 12 title game. I think it'll be them versus a rematch, either Utah or Kansas State. Probably what's going to happen.
Yeah, I would not be surprised. All right, Cincinnati at Texas Tech. This one is interesting. Because Tech has been, with the exception of that Arizona State game, Tech has been a shocking disappointment this year.
Yeah.
And Cincinnati, I mean, I kind of like that quarterback a little bit. I think that they're kind of a middle of the road Big 12 team, so like they've shown some improvement. Can Cincinnati win it in Lubbock at night? I think that's where that -3 is coming from, and I'm hesitant to say Texas Tech's going to lose at home at night. But Cincinnati is going to give them a game.
No, yeah, for sure. I think it'll be. No, I honestly, you know what? I'm going to say Texas Tech's kind of figured it out. I think they struggled against Abilene Christian. They lost at Washington State, who's apparently good now. By the way, they're 4-0. They let loose some demons against our boy Chandler Morris. They kind of maybe officially retired him, and then took care of business against Arizona State, survived in advance. I'm still not sold on Cincinnati for whatever reason. That's my hill to die on. I don't think they're that good, but they're 3-1, which I just realized for the first time. But I think Tech comes in, night game, weird things happen. A fox will be on the field, a bearcat will be on the field. I think Tech's gonna win pretty big.
If there's a bearcat on the field, that's like national news. Like, whoa,
it will be.
This creature exists.
The best thing to come out of Lubbock since.
If it's gonna happen anywhere, it's gonna happen.
It's gonna happen in Lubbock. Sure.
Yeah. I think Tech wins. But I think it's like some sort of crazy Cincinnati covers and Tech squeaks this one out. I think Cincinnati makes them uncomfortable.
This is a game where they would win on like a 58-yard field goal. With altitude a little bit out there. Next week they play Arizona, and that'll be a real fun like shootout for sure. That'll be like Big 12 like of olden days.
Yes, yeah. And speaking of Arizona playing at number 10 Utah. The Utes have looked as advertised. Arizona, not so much, right? The question was, how are they going to look now with a new coach? The returns are not great. That receiver is still really daggum good.
Yeah.
Can they beat Utah on the road? I don't think so. I don't know that Utah is 2 touchdowns better than them necessarily, but I do think Utah wins.
Yeah, this is not a line I would touch. I'm too scared because, again, I just worry about Cam Rising leaving in the middle of the first quarter every week. Right?
Yeah,
it's one of those things where I don't know if I can trust him until he can kind of stick around a whole time. But if he's healthy, they're going to be great all year, and they should win this game handily. But I wouldn't touch 2 touchdowns against anybody in this conference, I feel like. But Arizona does have a nice little offense there. But I think Utah is just too solid top to bottom, assuming Cam Rising stays healthy.
Yeah. I mean, I could see a world where this develops into a shootout, but I think Utah is very clearly the better team. Here we go. Remick Johnson. If Rising is playing, we'll beat them by 2 touchdowns, but who knows?
Yeah. That's, again, if he can start and finish the game, that's the whole deal with him. Then they'll be fine.
Yeah, so all of our Pac-12 people are chiming in. Utah, take the over. Okay. Yes. And Rye Guy says, "You think it's time Cam Rising gets a real job?" Yeah, not all of us got to go to college for 9 years.
Yeah.
So, but that's
Well,
just jealousy talking.
Dr. Cam Rising.
Yeah, Dr. Cam Rising. I saw somebody shared on Twitter the other day a picture of him on a recruiting visit to Texas from when like Arch Manning was still in middle school or something like that, or like fifth grade.
Yeah, Arch
Yeah.
was like at a camp when he was like 6, and Cam Rising was a freshman there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Hey, good for them. I'd love to have Josh Hoover that long, to be honest. Let's be real. I like Josh Hoover a lot.
Yeah.
Just wish we could put more around him. Give him an offensive line.
Still, I said what I said I'm sure you saw it, and I'm nervous that it's going to happen, especially if this season goes off the rails. I'm worried Hoover's going to look good in Oregon green next year. I'm still worried about him.
I don't know, man. I feel like I guess if you're going to get paid, you're going to get paid.
Does he give Big Duggan energy? Like, that's the thing, right? They don't make a lot.
I think he does. He feels like a Fort Worth guy.
He does, but like so does Haas Haney, right? So like one of those things where you're probably not going to keep both of them for the next 3 years.
Yeah.
So in this day and age, of course we have Nike money now, right? Aren't we in charge of Nike money? So
yeah, that's true. That's true. We're Oregon now. Okay.
We don't care about buyouts anymore.
We steal Oregon's players now.
Yeah,
that's how it works. We get the eggshell uniforms and steal 100%. Oregon's players. Man. Okay. Yeah. Well, let's check in back again. See what TCU and Kansas are doing on the simulation. Okay, Frogs are up 10-7.
Oh yeah, they have first and goal.
Yeah. Okay. Well, they're fixing to score again, maybe.
If this is the score in the third quarter, what will I do with the fast food item? I don't know. What will I eat or stick somewhere?
That's all you, bro. If you want to make that promise,
I'm not that bold.
Listen, in this day and age, Twitter is going to hold you to it. Okay, I think they're still looking
like that's huge. That's a lot of clout, as the kids.
Yeah. Well, they're still looking for that Florida State guy who's supposed to be eating the dog turds out of the Red Solo Cup. As far as I'm aware. Yeah. Hey, kudos to Cal Berkeley. They saw a team in need and they decided to redistribute a win to the Florida State Seminoles, from each according to his ability, to each according to his need. Slow clap for
they went to Will Campbell Stadium and gave them what they needed.
Yes, exactly.
Cal Twitter has been one of the best highlights of the year so far.
Oh my God, it's been amazing.
Speaking of Florida State, we haven't talked much since the season started. As you know, my house is a half Florida State house. My wife went to Florida State.
Yes.
So I don't know if you noticed, because we're also friends on other social medias, we happened to go to Ireland, right?
Yeah.
And so the goal was to go for the game. I haven't told you the story yet. So we flew out there for the game, but our flight got an hour into the air over the Atlantic Ocean and had to turn around in the middle of the night, like 1 a.m. Yeah, this is a true thing. Yeah, so it was terrifying. The flight attendants run up in the aisles, put your seatbelts on. So we had to go back and land. We waited and this is the night before the game. We flew out of Boston. And so we land back at the airport at midnight. We sat in the terminal for another hour and a half or so. I popped a couple sleeping pills, so I passed out. But then they said, hey, we're not going to take off tonight. Go get your bags. So we had to go pick our bags up off the terminal. We went to a hotel. We checked in a hotel at 3 a.m. We ended up missing the game. We have to watch it from the hotel room. It's still in Boston on Saturday. We don't fly out till midnight Saturday night going into Sunday. So we finally got to Ireland at like 3 p.m. Sunday afternoon, Ireland time. So we did try to go for the game. Ticketmaster won't refund our tickets, but that's what's up. But the Aer Lingus, who sponsored the game, which again, they sponsored the game, you think they would refund us the tickets. They did take very good. They refunded us each, 500 something euros for the flight delay, which equals like $1,500. So we ended up going to we spent like a week in Ireland, mostly just going for fun. But we would have been much more upset had Florida State actually won the game. The wife would have been much more upset. But it's still a bummer to miss the game. At the same time, got a cool trip out of Ireland out of it. So
yeah, man. It feels like a lot of people are going to Ireland right now, and I've got the itch for it myself.
It's a short flight, man. It's 4 hours from here to Boston. It's 5.5 from Boston to Ireland.
No way.
Yeah. So
not bad at all.
We bought tickets on credit card points, but and I imagine it's pretty reasonable, and it's a pretty short flight. It's worth it. Go check it out. Get a whole bunch of Guinness. We
Yeah.
were there for 3.5, 4 days. I think I put down 13 or 14 of them. So
Yeah,
it's different
I've
over
been
there,
wanting to
man.
get. Me and Abby have been up talking about it. Actually, my wife, going out there. We were actually briefly talking about a Scotland and Ireland trip for this
Yeah,
past summer. Getting in touch with the roots, the
there you go.
McGivern side of the family and everything. But yes, some Jameson and some Guinness and yeah, all of the things. I'd
Yeah,
love to.
do it.
Uh,
10 out of 10,
yeah,
recommend.
definitely harder because you're out on the West Coast. Yeah, it's a little bit farther there.
Yeah, that's probably a
Um,
longer flight from Seattle to Boston than it is from Boston to Ireland, for sure.
Yeah. 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 Every single one of your comments has been pretty accurate, my
Yeah,
friend. That's true.
that's
TCU
what
might
it
look
came to.
bad,
Again,
but at least we're not Florida
I would
State.
take Josh Hoover over DJ Young in a heartbeat.
Oh my God. What a mess. Like, I feel like on one hand, it feels like with the modern NIL, it's easier to theoretically turn programs around faster now. But I mean, oh my gosh, a program like Florida State, like what that is just a mess over there. How do you even begin?
The portal giveth and the portal taketh away, right? It's the same
Yeah.
thing we talked about with TCU last year. They have 13 players in the NFL now. They've got 2 players on the Rams. Their quarterbacks, I think, third string for the Jordan Travis, third string for the Jets. You can't just take your whole roster unless you're Georgia or Alabama, put them in the NFL. Like Michigan's kind of going through that a little bit this year. They're
Yeah.
definitely taking a step back. They're also not cheating anymore, but that's beside the point. Although, hold up, I thought we were the cheaters in that game, right?
Yes, I was going to bring this up. Did you see what
Joel
Joel
Klatt, man.
Klatt of all people put us
I've
on
been out on
blast?
Joe Klatt for years, man. Joe Klatt he lost me a while ago, but yeah, that's wild. That's
I
wild.
mean, it's literally on the books that Sonny Dykes was like, "Yeah, we got told that Michigan steals signals, so we changed our signals."
Yeah,
So maybe that's the cheating.
that's what he's referring. 100%. Yeah, we knew ahead of time what they were going to do. Yeah, that's wild. It's wild. Revisionist history on that one. The gaslighting is enormous there, but yeah, it's crazy. But yeah, I can't imagine someone actually believes that and said that. But that's why Michigan's taking a step back. Josh Hoover is all day in the pocket.
Oh
What
my
is
God!
this?
Yeah,
What is
this
this?
is like this would never.
That's a 10
This is
second.
hey, no. If this happens on Saturday, I'm shoving a beefy 5-layer burrito on my butt.
Hoover would not, yeah, right. Hoover would not have missed that wide open Savion after getting a 10-second pocket there.
That was insane. Oh my God!
54 yards out. Did he drill that? He did.
Yeah, he did. Okay.
Where was that? Where was that 2 weeks ago? Not his
Yeah,
fault.
no kidding.
Not his fault, but still.
Yeah. Okay, Reggae says, I thought TCU has the money for an NIL fund, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, yeah, but we don't have Texas money, paying each offensive lineman $1 million.
Yeah.
If that's what you're talking about.
There's definitely, I mean, there's got to be more there, right? And it's not. And I hate that I hate that it's come to this. It's not fun just trying to basically outspend everybody. There's 4 Yankees out there and a whole bunch of Kansas City Royals.
Yeah, it did not look people. Anyone who said this is going to level the playing field was absolutely lying to you.
Yeah,
completely lying to you.
Yeah. So it's just now people can cheat in the open. You've helped
Yeah.
4 SEC teams. There's gonna be 5 SEC teams in the playoff every year. Get excited for that, right? And here we go. You're gonna have some, and you're never gonna see I don't think you'll see a TCU in the national title game again. It's just you're gonna have to have somebody win 3 games. Tulane is gonna have to beat USC like they did a couple years ago, and then beat Texas, and then beat Georgia. Right?
Mhm.
It's just not gonna happen in back-to-back weeks. No chance.
Yeah. It's on one hand, I like that more teams are getting a chance, but
100%.
yeah, it's going
better.
to-
It's definitely better, but it's you're not going to see a lot of Cinderellas, not with football like you do in basketball.
Yeah, I would not think so. I mean, I want to say that we're not done. I want to say that we're going to get back there again someday. I don't want to say that my one dream of seeing TCU play in the national championship has now happened, and there's never going to be redemption.
Don't we have?
Yeah.
Was it? We have little Bezos, right? Isn't Jeff Bezos' brother?
That's true. Yes, that's
So
true.
maybe if Jeff were to unfortunately perish, and say in Mark's will, he's left $72 trillion. He says, you know what?
Exclusively for TCU NIL usage.
If I win Powerball, if I win $1 billion on Powerball someday, I would have no qualms buying a national title for TCU.
Oh, none at all.
You heard it here first, right?
Yes.
If I were to win $1 billion on the Powerball, I'm going to find a way to buy us a national title.
Yeah, I
I'll be buying
absolutely would too.
offensive linemen left and right. I will get us
Yes.
a mean defensive end. I will give us who's our last like dominating defensive end? Was it Ben Banagoo?
I would say what's his name? Who from the Fiesta Bowl? Golly, who is at the Texans now? God, I can't think of his dadgum name. He's the one who stopped the trick play, the Michigan trick play.
Oh yeah, he's with the Texans. That's what you said.
Yeah, TCU and Texans. It's probably just going to show me Jerry Hughes. Dylan Horton.
Dylan Horton.
Dylan Horton.
Yeah, he's a transfer from New Mexico, right? But he's.
Yeah.
I don't know. He wasn't like were his numbers quite what Banagoo was because Banagoo was like should have been Big 12 Defensive Player of the Year that year, and they gave it to Charles.
I mean, probably not. They
Yeah,
probably weren't
listen.
Banagoo numbers, but he was. I would say he was a really good defensive end. You said, a dominant defensive end. I think he was good.
That's
I give him an A.
We had the kid end up going to your boy that went to Ole Miss instead. I'm assuming he's still there. Keon Coleman, not Coleman.
Oh yeah,
Kari Coleman.
Kari Coleman. Yeah, Kari Coleman. Oh man, that's a blast from the past.
And that was like 3 years ago. That's the sad.
Yeah.
Oh, think of these names. Guys don't need therapy. We need to name 2000s TCU players. Right?
Oh my god. Yeah.
That's all we need.
Well, that wasn't even that long. That feels like a lifetime ago. Kari Coleman. Oh my god. And yet Chase Curtis is still on the roster.
Chase Curtis is still in the team. I think about you every time his name pops up, which is becoming way too frequently. No offense to Chase Curtis, but every week he's got 3 plays designed for him.
Yeah, and hey, no more Wild Frog, which just baffles me.
No more Shea. We don't have another Shaywo. No Shaywo.
Yeah.
Lonalua. That's all we need.
Honestly, Chase Curtis his body is probably more well suited for Wild Frog now than it was back then.
Yeah,
because he's a beefy kid now. He's big.
He's a beefy man.
Yeah, meaty man.
He's gonna go work for Cam Rising someday.
Yeah, look at that. Okay, we're driving the ball here. I'm wondering if we can get a touchdown and 2-point conversion. So far,
game this week, I kind of took us off a couple rails there.
What was that?
Are there other Big 12 games to preview? I kind of took us off a couple rails.
No, that we're all the way through. I was right now. We're just having time and seeing if KG is going to show up. But yeah, so far both shows that I've done this, that I've had a simulation of my game of the week, both of them have gone into overtime.
Oh wow.
So I don't know if the Frogs will be able to score and get the 2 points here to send this one into overtime.
We are always been atrocious at 2-point conversions. Go back to Grayson Muhlstein at Oklahoma, right? That's one of those things where was that Muhlstein? No. Yes. Ooh.
No, you're thinking of Bram Kohlhausen.
I am thinking of Bram Kohlhausen. Yes.
Yeah.
Grayson Muhlstein, man.
Yeah.
Again,
I mean, we have a history of a lot of great 2-point conversions. When I was in school, Boise State, West Virginia, both with Josh Boyce. Those were great 2-point.
Was the headline Boise State after that game? Like, did they change?
If it wasn't, it should have been.
Yeah. Was I had the skiff still? I don't remember. I should have done a better job of that if I was 4th and inches, and we run it and we're short. Never mind.
That looks accurate.
That looked about right.
Yeah. Okay. So there we go. There's your. Oh wow! I thought they were going to kneel it.
No, they need 1 first down. They need 1 first down. Now they need 1 yard.
Oh, Rye Guy has called down the thunder. Don't bring up that certain Alamo Bowl, buddy.
That was the best, man.
Yes.
That was the best
easily the best game I have ever personally attended. I was at the Rose Bowl. That was a more special game. I cried at the end of the Fiesta Bowl, but that was the best game I've ever been at.
Yeah. That was wild.
Yeah.
Now they can just take 3 knees and win this.
Well, I guess we still have timeouts.
We can't use them. Gosh darn it, can't take them with us.
That's true. You can't take them with you. Yeah. Well, while Kansas runs this one out, I think I'm going to run out the clock on us as well. Billy, man, thank you so much.
Yeah, man.
For hanging out. It's so fun to get back together and do shows.
Yeah. Anytime you need me, let me know.
Well, I know that you're in the private sector these days.
I know.
But where can the people find you if they want to engage with you? Where can they follow you? Tell them what they need.
Billy Wessels on Twitter and Facebook, and then what? Facebook. What am I? 97. Scoop _ on Instagram. Yeah, just hit me up if you need me. I'm around.
He's around, folks. He is, and I'm around too. Okay, so Follow me at Clint_Foster55 on Twitter, and subscribe to my personal YouTube channel at Clint Foster Comedy. And for the love of God, subscribe to this show at Big 12 BOCFB. It's not just me, not just the Biggest 12. We got Joey and Shane's show on Thursdays. A lot of fun ways to interact, a lot of fun ways to join into the conversation of this abusive sport that we all love to fight our best interest. So until next week, I love y'all. I hope your team wins, and go Big 12. See you around.
Bye.